Hi and welcome to GRVOTV, G's Reviews, Reviews and Opinions. This is my unboxing and initial thoughts on a Panasonic Lumix GM1. Now this camera's been out for a little while, and they've also got out the GM5, but I will review that at some point, but had an opportunity to get the GM1, so I got this one. Now this was originally the kit with the 15mm f1.7, but I got it body only because that's how it came, but I've got the 12 to 32, the little mini one on it, which was, I think, one of the options that you could have got with this as well. So USB lead, nice camera straps you get with Lumixes, but I never use them. Little cameras like this, I'd either put a wrist strap on or I hang them from a side strap, so I don't ever get them out, to be honest. In this side you've got your power cable, and this one charges in a dock. Probably would have been better with a little camera like this for it to charge in the camera by USB. So that's all the usual stuff in there. Let's just get the camera out, and then we'll get rid of the box and we'll call that done.
Back in there. I'm sure I'll spend more time designing the boxes than I do the cameras. But there you go.
So there we have it. Oh my god, it's tiny. It's tiny. Right, I have the battery here, so I'll just pop that in. And first thing I'm going to do is get out another camera. Let's get my this is my Lumix GX80, and we'll do for a size comparison. This is proper tiny, and that's good actually, because that's got the 12 to 35 2.8 lens, and this is the 12 to 32 kit lens. That's a 3.5 to 5.6 lens. But yeah, look at the size difference in that. That is absolutely dinky do, isn't it? Tiny. I knew it was small, but that shocked me how small that is. But perfect with that little 12 to 32 lens as a little carry around camera, but still with that 16 megapixel micro four thirds sensor in it. Now if you look at, say, the Sony RX100 with its 1-inch sensor, and the little Nikon with its 1-inch sensor, some of the Canons, when you think this, in comparison, I know it's a small sensor, but in comparison to those, that's a massive sensor in a small little body, and I'm going to get, you know, almost as good image quality out of this as I do this. Not quite as good, because this is a later generation sensor with the AA filter removed. I'm pretty sure this still has the AA filter in it, but I'll have to double check that. So turn it on. It's let's do the autofocus first. That's my most important thing. So far, near, close, far, close. Yeah, usual Panasonic affair. And I can touch the screen to focus as well. Beautiful touch screen. Obviously this is the kind of camera where you're going to utilise that touch screen more so, because there's less physical buttons. But unbelievably, the first thing I've noticed is this lever here, which is the autofocus continuous, single and manual. You know, I haven't even got that on my GX80, which just shows you if they wanted to put that lever on there, they could have fitted it on. They just chose to leave it off for whatever reason. So that's a nice feature to have, but to be honest, on a camera like this, I'm probably going to just leave it in AF single. It's not the sort of thing I'm going to manual focus. This lens doesn't even have a manual focus ring. You'd have to do it on screen, but it's there as a feature. I notice also in the middle of that there's a function 1 button, which I've got set to ISO, which is nice. You can obviously set that to tons of other things. You've got the on-off lever there, so it's a one-handed operation, which I insist on the camera. As you pick it up, you can turn it on and off one-handed, which is good. You've got your usual PASM dial there, and again, interestingly, it's got a C1 and a C2 mode. I've only got a C mode on here. There are C1, C2 within that, but you have to do it off the screen. So that's a great dinky little mode dial. Around the back, obviously, we've got most of the real estate is the screen, but I've got a record button, a playback button, a menu set button, one dial, so For instance, if I'm at aperture priority, that will change the aperture. That works fine. That's lovely. No issues with that. That is also a D-pad. So I've got, looks like exposure compensation, white balance, drive modes, and then autofocus area choices on the little D-pad, which has got the ring around it. And you've got the menu set button in the middle. We've got a Q menu, which is a quick menu, which gives you loads of stuff, and then you can go through that touch screen or you can scroll through. That works brilliantly. That's the same as all the Panasonics, but I think on this camera it's the sort of thing you're going to utilise more frequently than on some of the others. And I've got a display button down the bottom, which is handy because the thing that I use that display button for more than anything is if I'll just go into the autofocus single area, which is what I normally have it on. If I touch to focus and change the focus point and I want to snap back to the middle, it's difficult to get it right in the middle exactly. So if I'm there, if I press the disc button, it snaps back to the centre and then it stays there, and that is the same on all Panasonics, and that for me is a great function because now and again you knock the screen and you've noticed that you're off on your autofocus, so I want to get it back in the middle, just press that button and it's back in the middle. Or so you can drag it around, you can resize it, you can have a tiny little one, a box, whichever, works brilliantly. So that's great. Something I've also noticed on the top here, we've got a little flash, a little pop-up flash that you can bounce, which is important. That's a toss-up, I suppose, you know, flash or viewfinder. For a camera like this, I'm less likely to use a viewfinder anyway of this size. I mean, to be honest, I don't use the viewfinder very often on this one, and I've got it, so it's not a camera that I would desperately miss the viewfinder. And let's face it, if you really want a viewfinder, you would buy the GM5. I'm pretty sure that's got a viewfinder, but that'll be a camera that I will be reviewing next. Obviously, you've got, as well as those, the function button on there and all the buttons on the back, which cover your majority of functions. There's also soft function buttons on this, and I've got set up like photo styles, histogram, different things, all on soft keys, and you just press a little tab there and you get soft keys come up. Works absolutely fine. It's seamless. There's you know, it's not like it's difficult. You're still not going into the menus. If you do go into the menus, again, the Panasonic menus, you can just touch anything in the menus. It all works. And you know, I know for a fact if I want to format my card, I just go to the spanner, page 6, and I've got format my cards and things like that. You know, it's very intuitive and it's very easy to navigate. And for me, that is where, when people say I don't need a touchscreen and you know, I've got no calls for a touchscreen, when you're navigating the menus, instead of left, right, up, down, and all that, and then touch and oh, I'm on the wrong bit, to just touch through the menus just makes it so much nicer and easier. It's you know, it's fantastic. I love that feature. In the hand, it's an awkward little camera to hold, but there is a little pad there to hold, and you know, you've got to be careful with it. You can't sort of hold it up to your eye, like, you know, because you haven't got a viewfinder. So you're going to be holding it like this most of the time. One-handed, with small hands, yes, you can do it. It's fine. But you're going to have to be careful that you're not touching the screen and moving your autofocus point. If that's a problem, you can turn that function off and just have like a multi-autofocus system where it, you know, like an area, and the area covers pretty much, let's have a look, yeah, pretty much the whole screen anyway. So, but yeah, one-handed operation is fine, or you can obviously, you know, hold the lens like that. It's fine. It's a small camera. It's not going to be super comfortable. It's got a bit of weight to it. It's not lightweight by any means. Now, it's not an issue, but if you put on, say, something like a lens of this kind of size, this probably wouldn't be a lens I would choose for this because it hasn't got inbuilt image stabilisation. But let's just turn that off. Just pop that to one side. This is the 25-1.7. Oh, it fits on there quite nice. Obviously, it's bigger than the camera itself in depth. But let's just turn that on. Yeah. This is a lens I actually quite like all manually focusing with, and and again, these Panasonics are all set up the same roughly, is when you manually focus, you automatically get a zoomed in image in the middle, which you can change the magnification, and focus peaking, and that happens automatically. And if you want to move that, you just move it around the screen to where you want it. So it makes manually focusing, so I'm just going to manually focus on this little camera I've got here, Bosch, done, and that's perfectly in focus. Nice and easy, and with this lens the focus ring is beautiful and smooth. It's perfect for this little camera. Let's just focus on something a long way away. Bosh, done, and then back close on this camera. I must turn the image review off, that's on. Let's just get that, and bang, lovely. Yeah, so a lens like that, yeah, absolutely fine, got no issues with that. Let's go for something, turn it off. Let's just go for something a little bit bigger. Let's try a telephoto. This is my 45 to 150. Probably my longest lens, not my heaviest, that's my heaviest, but put that on there. My God, that's dirty. That needs a clean, that lens. Let's go back to autofocus. Oh yeah, beautiful. Yeah, it's not bad at all. It doesn't sort of overpower it. I mean, what a great little system that is, isn't it? It doesn't overpower the camera. Feels nice to hold. No issues there whatsoever. Let's just focus on that. Lovely. Lovely quick autofocus. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I thought it would be overpowered by the bigger lenses, but you sort of tend to hold the lens, if you like, more than the camera. So yes, if you try to hold the camera one-handed, you're going to struggle a little bit. But the way you shoot with that, with the on-screen display, absolutely fine. I'm actually quite impressed with that. This is not a camera that I intended. I've said this before. This is not a camera I intended to keep. It was one I just got in for review, and to be honest, yes, it probably will go because I really want to swap it for the GM5 more from a testing point of view than any sort of need for a camera like this. But I have to say there is something about that if I had the money, I'd quite like to just keep that. I mean, as a spare camera, just to slot in your camera bag along with your main gear or something, that is a fantastic little camera in such a small package. That would be hard, or it'd be easy to justify keeping that camera and just having it as a spare, or if I want to go out and I just want a tiniest camera possible because I'm selling my RX 100 Mark II, then and it still works with all these lovely lenses. Yeah, I think that's a great little package. So I'm obviously going to do some more shooting with that and have a look at the image results. I'm pretty sure I know what I'm going to get from it, but I will do a follow-up review once I've used it some more and see if I've fallen in love or out of love with it more. And that will be coming soon. But anyway, for now, this is GRVOTV, G's Reviews, Views and Opinions. I'll see you soon.